My name is Ashley Nolan, and I'm 32, and I work at Pepperdine University. I'm the director of their volunteer center. Well, a couple months ago, I brought a small group of students down to Skid Row to work at Union Rescue Mission. We stayed overnight on their roof, and the trip was really to introduce them to the Skid Row area and to teach them a little bit about homelessness in Los Angeles. So we worked primarily with them. We served food, serving breakfast, lunch, dinner behind a food line. But then they had arranged for us to come to Urban Connection to work with you guys doing some outreach. Well, I've been to Skid Row a number of times before I came down here with my students, and I think the thing that I loved so much about this place is that I wasn't behind a food line. While that's so important, and that's an important part of volunteering, I liked the relational aspect of Urban Connection, and I remember my first day here, I had met with a man named Tony, who was a guest here, and I had just done the intake form. It was my first one, so I was very nervous, and passed it off to Antonio, who's the case manager, and 30 minutes go by. I'm like doing something else. 30 minutes goes by, and Antonio comes up to me and says, "Okay, Ashley, I know you were working with Tony. I just want to let you know what services we got him, and we got him a bed at the Union Rescue Mission tonight. We're going to set up an appointment to get his ID. We're going to take him to the Weingart Clinic on Monday and walk him over there to get some medication he needs." And in that moment, I looked at Antonio and I just thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing that you can, just with a little bit of knowledge, help someone navigate all of these resources. And so I looked at him and I was like, I want to learn how to do what you're doing. And so he was very gracious with me and said, all right. And so I've been coming back to learn that, and feel a little bit inadequate in some ways of like, I don't know what the services are, but I'm learning, and so much of it is just about hearing someone's story and talking with them and trying to connect them with the resources that would help them. Well, I certainly have no counseling experience whatsoever, other than what I do in my normal personal life. And so I don't know that people need, I mean, there's professional counselors and therapists that they can go to. I think a lot of people just need to know that someone's there to listen to them. And so I would say that the majority of what I do is listen. And that doesn't take much skill other than sitting down across the table with someone and asking a few questions. And so it's, I remember the first time I came back after the time I was with my students, I was very nervous about what I would encounter and who I would encounter and would I have the right thing to say. But I just found that as soon as someone started talking, it was very natural. They're no different really than any of my other friends, or they're in different circumstances, but that relationship building is no different than what I would do with my own friends. And so if I viewed it in that way, it wasn't intimidating at all. It's just me making another friend, and if I can find a way to help them in the process, then that's what I do. So I get down here usually about 10 o'clock, and I meet with Antonio, and he sort of briefs me on if he's seen any of the clients that I've worked with from last week, if they've come back, and gives me an update on them. So we do a little debrief in the morning. And then at 11 o'clock we go over to the Union Rescue Mission and have lunch with the guys over there in the program, which is actually a part of it I really enjoy, because it's getting to meet those guys at the program and at the Union Rescue Mission without being behind the line, the food line. And then we come back and we just meet with people and talk with people. Sometimes I'm back with Antonio working with him because I'm still learning. Other times I'll go out in the main room and just strike up conversation and work through the intake forms and see if there's resources we can give people. I think the thing that's missing is the volunteers. I mean, is people to just get to know the people on Skid Row and to build a relationship with them. I mean, there's tons of services. They can get 3 meals a day. There is a need for affordable housing in our community, but what a volunteer can provide on a very real level is them, and the gift of conversation, the gift of a relationship, the gift of coming back on a regular basis. I think that's something that's really important. Is there's a lot of volunteers that come in, serve a meal, and then leave. But there's probably fewer volunteers that come in every week and are just here. And I think that's one experience I had when I came back the second time. I took the train down. I live in the valley, so I took the Red Line down and I walked from the Red Line station. As I'm entering into Skid Row, I've walked through Skid Row before, but I thought, what am I doing here? Who am I? Who do I think I am? What am I doing here? And I just felt God kind of say, you just need to show up. That's your job, is to show up, and I will do the rest. And I really think that's what happens, that we just need to show up and be present, and that God fills in the rest. And that we just need to be here, and to kind of have solidarity with those that are challenged right now.